Hola, bienvenido a clase. Today we're going to study reflexive verbs. Before we get started, we'll review the reflexive verbs that were introduced as vocabulary in the first vocabulary section of Chapter 6. We're going to practice with repeticiones corales. First I'll pronounce the word, and then you'll pronounce it. We're going to focus on the verbs only. Afeitarse, arreglarse, bañarse, cepillarse, ducharse, lavarse, maquillarse, peinarse, secarse, acostarse, despertarse, dormirse, estirarse, levantarse, ponerse, quitarse, sentarse, vestirse. Now we're going to go to page 182 in the textbook, página 182. Dice, Camila habla con su consejera sobre su rutina. Después de ver el video, lee lo que Camila dice y observa las estructuras de los verbos. So at this moment, I'd ask you to pause the video and you'll watch this video, which I'm not able to show as I'm recording with my screen recorder. So you go to page 182 in the e-text and the video link will be there. You can open MindTap in Canvas to get there. We'll pause and then we'll discuss it together. Based on the dialogue that we heard in the video, which is a fraction of it's given here, a fragment of it, we're going to answer these questions. Uno, what is the subject of the verbs in bold in the examples above? Me despierto, me peino, me visto, arreglarme, acostarme, me baño, bañarme, me acuesto, me duermo. The subject is yo. What do you notice about the verbs in bold in the paragraph above? All of the verbs have me before them or attached to them. Notice the different structures of the verb acostar and despertar in the examples below. How are they different? Why do you think the structures are different? Todos los días me despierto a las 6. Despierto a mi hijo y preparo su cereal. Acuesto al niño, me acuesto, leo y me duermo. In these examples, me is used when the person does the action to him or herself. When the action is done to someone else, the me is not necessary. Reflexive verbs are verbs that refer to an action that is done unto oneself. It is to say the subject is both the doer and the receiver of the action in this construction. Many of the words that we use to talk about our daily routine are reflexive verbs, as we saw in the vocabulary that was introduced. Reflexive verbs in the infinitive are always going to be marked with the reflexive pronoun se. Conjugating a reflexive verb is no different than conjugating any other verb, but you're going to include the subject pronoun, the reflexive pronoun, in agreement with the subject of the verb. These are our reflexive pronouns, me, te, se, nos, se. And by the way, I wanted to mention that vosotros will not be focused on in this course, and you won't see it in the homework and you won't see it in the testing, so I tend not to talk about it in class. Here's an example of a reflexive conjugated verb. El verbo es lavarse. And as you can see, here the verb is conjugated as it always would be in present tense, and we've simply added the reflexive pronouns in agreement with the subject. Yo me lavo, tú te lavas, usted se lava, nosotros nos lavamos, y ustedes se lavan. Por ejemplo, siempre me ducho por la mañana. Paula se viste bien para la fiesta. The placement of the reflexive pronouns is this. They can always be placed before a conjugated verb, even if there's more than one verb in the sentence. So here we have one verb, and it's going to be placed in front of that. There's no other choice. Here we have two verbs, and note this construction is what you'll nearly always see when there's two verbs right next to each other. Conjugated infinitive. There's a preposition in the middle in this case. It's ir plus off plus infinitive. That doesn't really matter. So it's going to be conjugated in infinitive. And here we can see the reflexive pronoun in front of the conjugated verb. We can also attach it to the verb in the infinitive. Okay, both are equally correct, and you hear both with equal frequency. When we're using the present progressive tense, you can also attach the reflexive pronoun to the participle. Por ejemplo, here we have a conjugated verb. We can place it before the conjugated verb. We can always do that if there's a conjugated verb in the construction. Me estoy lavando. Or we can attach it at the end and note that it does become one verb. Estoy lavándome. Now, me estoy lavando. So here, the stress is on this syllable in the word, and we need to preserve that stress with a written accent if we do choose to add the reflexive pronoun. Verbs can be used reflexively or non-reflexively depending on who or what receives the action. Let's look at some examples. Reflexivo o no reflexivo. La madre se cepilla los dientes a su hija. Reflexivo o no reflexivo. No reflexivo. El niño se cepilla los dientes. Reflexivo o no reflexivo. Reflexivo. Los niños lavan el coche. ¿Reflexivo o no reflexivo? Reflexivo. La niña se lava las manos. ¿Reflexivo o no reflexivo? Reflexivo. Muy bien. Let's conjugate some verbs. Ducharse. Conjugate the verbs along with me. Yo. Me ducho. Tú. Te duchas. Usted. Se ducha. Nosotros. Nos duchamos. Y ustedes. Se duchan. Levantarse. Yo. Me levanto. Tú. Te levantas. Usted. Se levanta. Nosotros. Nos levantamos. Ustedes. Se levantan. Uno más. Acostarse. Fíjense, this verb has a change in the stem. The O will become UE in the present tense in all forms except for nosotros. Yo. Me acuesto. Tú. Te acuestas. Usted. Se acuesta. Nosotros. Nos acostamos. Y ustedes. Se acuestan. Muy bien. Entrevista. We're going to practice two questions together. I'm going to give an example, my own personal example, and then I'm going to ask the question of you, and I want you to actually answer aloud in voz alta, just as you would if we were speaking. Okay? And this will give you a chance to practice orally a little bit of the language. Número uno. ¿A qué hora te levantas los lunes? Yo me levanto los lunes a las 8:30 de la mañana. Me levanto a las 8:30 de la mañana los lunes. ¿Y tú? ¿A qué hora te levantas? Muy bien. Número 2. ¿A qué hora te acuestas los sábados? Yo me acuesto a las 12 de la mañana los sábados. Me acuesto a las 12 de la mañana los sábados. ¿Y tú? ¿A qué hora te acuestas los sábados? Muy bien. Continuamos. Let's try another activity. Conclusiones lógicas. Dice, empareja las columnas para hacer oraciones lógicas. Tú vas a empezar, emparejar esta columna con esta columna. Now here, again, I'll ask you to pause the video, and then when you're ready to move on, we'll go through the answers together. Bueno, repasemos juntos. 1. El despertador suena a las 8 y tú te levantas y te vistes. 2. No hay agua caliente y por eso yo prefiero no ducharme. 3. Empieza la clase de aeróbic y la profesora se estira. Son las 11 de la noche y nosotros nos acostamos. Tengo que ir a una fiesta formal y yo me pongo un vestido elegante. Finalmente, 6. Después de comer, ellos se cepillan los dientes. Fíjense, here again we see the construction, two verbs together, conjugado, infinitivo. In this case, these two verbs are two separate actions, te levantas y te vistes. Okay, two separate actions. You get up and you get dressed. So for that reason, they're both going to be conjugated. A propósito, by the way, if you have any questions about this activity or any others, be sure to contact your instructor via email or during virtual Zoom office hours. Vamos a otra actividad. Una mañana muy apurada. Dice, completa el siguiente párrafo con la forma necesaria del verbo apropiado. Después, compara tus respuestas con las de un compañero. Ojo, unos verbos son reflexivos y otros no. Remember, when you're completing this activity, in reflexive construction, the subject both both completes and receives the action, and that's what makes it reflexive. Okay, if there's an object that's receiving the action, like I washed the car, that wouldn't be reflexive. I washed my own hands, reflexive. Okay, at this point, you can pause. A good technique, by the way, might be to get a scratch piece of paper, write down all the answers, and then when you're ready, when you have all that completed, you can unpause the video and move on with the answers. Ok, vamos a repasar juntos. Carmen se despierta y mira el reloj, las 7 de la mañana. Los niños deben estar en la escuela a las 8. Rápidamente va al cuarto de sus hijos y despierta a Carlos y Víctor. Ellos se levantan y van al baño. Mientras los niños se bañan, Carmen prepara el desayuno para ellos. Cuando Carlos y Víctor están en la cocina para desayunar, Carmen corre al baño y empieza a arreglarse. Ella se maquilla y se viste. Después, Carmen llama a sus hijos. Carlos y Víctor van al baño y se cepillan los dientes. Carmen peina a los chicos y todos salen de la casa a las 8 menos 10. Bueno, en este caso, Carmen se despierta. She wakes herself up. That's a reflexive construction. She looks at her watch. The watch is the object. Carmen's performing the action. This isn't reflexive. Otra cosa que quiero destacar. Okay, so here we have two verbs that are right next to each other. There's a preposition. This preposition always goes with the verb empezar when you begin to do something. Conjugated infinitive. In this case, we've attached the reflexive pronoun to the infinitive, empieza a arreglarse. We could also say that se empieza a arreglar. Okay, and both are equally correct. You hear both with equal frequency. Okay, I have no other comments about the answers, but if you have any questions about that, make sure to contact your instructor via email or Zoom office hours. Última actividad, last activity. Cierto o falso? Answer the following questions. If you answer false, correct the false statement. Okay, we're going to practice this together, and I'll give an example as to how it applies to me. We're going to read the sentence, state whether it's true or false. If it's false, we'll correct it to make it true for ourselves. Por ejemplo, número 1. Me despierto temprano los fines de semana. Pues cierto y falso para mí. Me despierto más o menos temprano los fines de semana. Me despierto a las 8:30. ¿Y tú? ¿Cierto o falso? Bien. Número 2. Me ducho por la mañana. Para mí es falso. Me ducho por la noche. ¿Y tú? Muy bien. Número 3. Me maquillo todos los días. Para mí es falso. Nunca me maquillo. Mi esposa se maquilla todos los días. Yo no. ¿Y tú? 4. A veces me duermo en el sofá cuando miro la tele. Para mí es falso. Nunca me duermo en el sofá cuando miro la tele. ¿Y tú? Finalmente, 5. Me divierto en la clase de español. Cierto, siempre me divierto en la clase de español. ¿Y tú? Ok, es todo para hoy. That's everything for today. Gracias por mirar y adiós.